Hey guys, I'm Brian. Recently, one of my students came up to me and said, Brian, how do you fly a traffic pattern in that Cirrus anyway? Now, when I say students, I teach a beekeeping course to blind kids at the skating rink. They ask a lot of questions, and this is a really good question. Now, there's 4 different ways you can fly a traffic pattern in a Cirrus, and I'm going to show you how I do it right now.
All right, the first and most common way to fly a traffic pattern in a Cirrus is don't. This is the most common and most widely accepted pattern for Cirrus pilots, and I'm going to show you how we do that. Very first thing you want to do, start the engine. Next thing you want to do, turn on the autopilot. Then we want to go ahead and put in the airport that we're flying to. Direct enter, enter. All right, I'm going to film this in one take so I show you exactly how I'm doing this. I've got the autopilot turned on. I've got my destination put into the GPS. All I'm going to do is hit the up and away lever and let the plane do the rest of the work for me. All right, it's important that once you land, the first thing you do is turn your autopilot off. Otherwise, the Cirrus is going to find its way to the nearest Piper and exert its dominance over that plane. And then we're just going to have a sky full of these things. Nobody wants that. All right, so the second method is a standard Cirrus pattern entry. You were probably taught to fly a square pattern like the one I'm flying now, where you have the runway just off the edge of the wing when you're in downwind, or maybe 2/3 of the way down it. But in a Cirrus traffic pattern, what we want to do is we want to make it more of a round angle, or any other sort of angle actually works. We want to increase our distance from the runway by a factor of between 5 and 100. And the reason we do that is in case we have to use caps, we don't have people on the internet exclaiming, but there was a perfectly good runway right there, why did he use the parachute? It's a good idea in a Cirrus to be as far away from a usable runway as often as possible for that reason. You don't want to get beat up by people on the internet. All right, method 3 for entering the traffic pattern in a Cirrus is called the direct enter method. It's important to make sure you have the wrong frequency plugged into the radio, and it's also a good idea to have the wrong airport plugged into the GPS. This pattern is designed for pilots who are in a hurry, and let's be honest, all Cirrus pilots are in a hurry. We didn't get these planes to go slow. The goal here is to get directly to the numbers from wherever you're at as fast as possible. You're going to fly this pattern entry at a very, very high rate of speed, and you're going to land at near full throttle. All right, once you land, you may want to do some S-turns on the runway to bleed off some of that speed. If you've still got way too much speed, you may want to rotate and bring it back around again to kill off some of that excess energy. Also, I'm pretty sure I just landed on a taxiway, but that's not a problem. It's an uncontrolled airport. You can do that. Don't do that. The last and most common traffic pattern for Cirrus pilots is called the oops method. The oops method is probably the most common pattern entry for Cirrus pilots, and this is the one where you manage to get to the airport you are aiming for, but you're not 100% sure exactly how or why you managed to get there. Sorry about that, I thought I was west of the field. That's going to be a right base for 17. 18. There's like an 80% chance I'm going to have to go around, but I'm going to try to save this one anyway. White Cessna, looks like I'm overtaking you. If you would just go around, that'd be great. Does anybody know what airport this is by any way, chance?
So now that I've shown you these 4 methods of traffic pattern entry, you might be thinking the obvious question is, what happens if 2 Cirrus arrive in the pattern at the same time? Well, I'll tell you what, that's never going to happen. Cirrus has got a system in place so that can't happen. Cirrus headquarters is actually located in an underground cave in Duluth, and they can monitor all Cirrus activity in real time. And they make sure that no 2 planes are in the same place at the same time with the cunning use of engine failures, parachute deployments, and alternator failures. That way we'll never have 2 Cirrus arriving in the same pattern at the same time. All right, that's it for today, guys. Now you know how I fly a traffic pattern in my Cirrus SR22. And if ever you find yourself the proud owner of a Cirrus, these are some tools that you might use to keep yourself safe in the pattern as well. I gotta go. I think someone got stung by a bee. Click this link to see the most recent video upload. Click this link to see a video that YouTube thinks you might like. Click this link to subscribe to my channel.